Father Vogel, we continue our series on St. Francis de Sales' Introduction to the Devout Life. We are in part 4, looking at temptations, and in the previous chapters we've been looking at the difference between temptation and actually consenting to the temptation whereby we sin. And in this chapter he continues in that, giving some words of encouragement to those that experience temptations. So he says that God can allow these kind of trials and temptations to those whom he wishes to raise to his pure and excellent love. So if you ever experience such great temptations, you may recognize that God is granting you an extraordinary favor, manifesting his desire to exalt you in his sight. Nevertheless, you must always be humble and diffident. Do not be too sure of your ability to overcome small temptations because you have overcome great ones. Trust only in a constant fidelity to God. So, to give us some encouragement when we're experiencing temptations, especially very difficult temptations, is that sometimes God can allow us to experience temptations in order to purify us, in order to draw closer to him. Not that God puts us to the test, but or that he desires us to fall into temptation. But just as he will give us an opportunity to express our love to him, including rejecting the temptations, and even great temptations. Though he says our ability to do it is not upon ourselves, but upon the grace received from God. So we should never become proud in having noted, wow, I was able to resist that temptation in that area of my life, because then it could very easily make us susceptible to falling into temptation in some other area within our life. Or that just because we were able to succeed in a very difficult temptation, we don't want to presume that we will be able to avoid all the small ones as well. He says, trust only in a fidelity to God. Trust only in his ability to enable us to be faithful. Then again, he reminds us that whatever temptations assail you, and from whatever pleasure may follow from them, as long as your will refuses consent, not only to the temptation, but also to any of the pleasure, do not be least disturbed, for God is not offended by them. So we can often get so disturbed by the fact that we see that temptation even arising within us. We wish it wouldn't even come. But as long as we reject it, as long as we don't consent to the temptation or to any of the pleasures that that our body may be drawn to, then it's not a sin, and God is not displeased with us, especially since we are striving to react against it. He says, as long as the movement of refusal is within our hearts, we are assured that charity, the life of our spirit, is in us. Indeed, Jesus Christ, our Savior, is present in us, though hidden and concealed. Thus, by means of continual prayer, the sacraments, and confidence in God, we shall regain our strength to lead a whole and happy life. So, we want to make sure that we're continually, as he's saying, using all these different means, prayer, sacraments, having this great confidence in God that even though we may experience temptations at times, that as long as we're experiencing this refusal to follow them, then God remains with us. God bless.